Good evening, everyone. I'm Darren, and I'm here to talk about dumplings, also called 饺子 in Chinese. So, what are dumplings? So, dumplings are made of two things. The outer side is a dough wrapper, and the inside is minced pork with some vegetables. That's 饺子. And some would wonder, where did it originate? We all eat 饺子 in like Taiwan or in like China, but where exactly did 饺子 originate? So it originated in China, and there's a folk story that people see as its original origin. So traditionally, dumplings were thought to be invented during the era of Eastern Han, and it's invented by a person called Zhang Zongjing. Okay, and this guy, he was a doctor. And one day when he was going home around the winter time, he saw that people had frostbites on their ears, and he decided to treat them, and he cooked a pot of stewed lamb with some medicine, and he wrapped them in some dough wrappings. He then served that thing with some broth, and that is commonly believed as the first invention of 饺子, or as dumplings. And there are many explanations on why dumplings are called 饺子 in Chinese. So first, the sound 饺 has many different Chinese characters in Chinese, and dumplings 饺子 got its name because it has horn shapes on either side. So the word horn is also called 饺 in Chinese, and it was originally called 饺子, the 饺 as in horn, and it slowly transferred into another word with a different writing character of it. There's another explanation that is also commonly believed, that because the doctor, as we just mentioned in the first story, he treated frostbitten ears, and he named the thing that he treated his patient as 焦耳, tender ears in Chinese, and that 焦耳 slowly transitioned into 饺子in these years. And so we have to discuss we already concluded that 饺子 was originated in China. So which part of China specifically? The north, the south, east, the west? So there's this old saying called 民以食为天, and that basically translating into the people rely on the weather for their living. And in the old days, making a living means farming. So some places cannot produce certain crops. Like, for example, wheat cannot be, it's technically hard to plant wheat in the southern area of China. They're mostly planted in the north. So back to our subject of where 饺子 was originated. The dough wrapping needs to use wheat as its ingredient. So therefore we can conclude that 饺子 originated in the northern part of China. Okay, now to the ingredients part. In dumplings, we always have minced pork. Okay, and this is a version of leeks. It's called Chinese leeks. We have some cabbage, some carrots, and some sun-dried mushrooms. We have to soak that in water so that it will soften up. We have some canned corn. We have ginger, and later on we're gonna mush it together so that it will become, a paste, and we'll add that into the meat. We also have some soy sauce and some salt. I'll explain what are we going to do with the salt later. Okay, so there are three combinations that I'm going to teach everyone today. First is the leek combination. It's just pure leek with minced pork. The second combination is cabbage and carrot. The third combination is mushrooms with corn. Okay, so Now moving on to the preparation stage. Okay, so when dealing with Chinese leeks in dumplings, you want them to be cut down finely to small pieces. So you halve them, halve them again, and cut them up into very small pieces. So I usually peel the carrot a bit, make sure it's clean, and I grab like a third of it, and now you slice it into like thin slices. And if you have a machine at home, use a machine, because you know machines are more accurate, and that way you will not have like inconsistent texture. So you want to cut them into very tiny little sticks of carrots. This sun-dried mushroom has a very hard core, a stem here, so you don't want, you know, a hard stem in the dumplings. So take it out. The stem can be used later if you want to, you know, like make a stock, or you know, you can put it elsewhere to make things tasty. I usually save these. And now you slice your mushrooms into like elongated shapes, and after that you'll dice them. Don't slice them too thin. It'll, you know, I don't like thin textures. Okay, now we're going to season the minced meat. Just put it in like a metal bowl and get your ginger. I like mine skin on, and you know, just grind it against this metal thing that would make it into a paste. You know, you want the ginger paste inside so that the pork would not taste that gamey. The amount of ginger that you use, you know, is just personal, you know, preference. You can use a lot of ginger. You know, it'll get you a very strong ginger taste. But you know, it's just preference. You use how much ingredients as you want. Okay, get that in. And also, you need some soy sauce. You don't need too much, just some. Now you use your hand, give it a good mash up, mush. Like outside the factories, they always use machines, but you know, it's different. The dumplings made by hand have a different texture. They taste better. I don't know why, they just do. Okay, so as you can see here, there's some water leaching out from the cabbage. So now what we have to do is we have to gather it up. Like, you give it a good squeeze like this. Then you squeeze out the water. Don't squeeze it like until it's dry. No, just squeeze it so that you're sure that there's some water inside, but not a lot of water. Squeeze. You have to remember that there's still a lot of salt in the cabbage, so don't add this directly to the meat. You'll wash your kidneys like 10 days later. Run it under some tap water, rinse and repeat. Now, as you can see here, we have the ingredients prepared. We have the a little bit less water cabbage and the carrots. We have the seasoned minced pork. We have our cut leeks. We have the mushrooms and our corn. So now, the combination. We have to separate the meat into 3 parts. And now we can add it together and make our dumplings. So you have a tray here. So what does the tray do? The tray is for when you finish your dumplings, you put your dumplings on it. And when you fill the tray, you put it in the freezer for like 5 to 10 minutes. And the dumplings will be good. And you can cook them or you can freeze them. And this is a bowl of water. So when you're making dumplings, you want to moist your fingers like this. And you'll wet the outer ring of the dumpling wrapper. That would make the dough a bit softer so that you can seal it together. And these are our 3 flavors: the the corn and mushroom, the leeks, and the cabbage and carrot version. And here is the dumpling wrapper. So it's very cheap. You can buy it at farmers market in Taiwan or in China. And if you're in Asia, or if you're in Europe or in America, if you don't have these, you can make it yourself. It's very easy. And so, how to make a dumpling? You get the bowl that you like. You fill it with some ingredients in the middle. Don't put too much. Don't be that greedy. You wet your fingers. You moisten the outside ring of the peel like this, and you stick it together like this. Oops. So you want to make sure that nothing comes out of the peel. So if you added too much ingredients, you can always take a little bit out and throw it back in the pot and seal the dumpling together. Like this. So look, you have your first dumpling. Okay, so this is all done, and we have a pot of boiling water there. Okay, as you can see, it's boiling. And now we're going to cook the dumplings. So you want to add the dumplings into the boiling water while it's hot, and you want to swirl it around so that the dumpling won't stick to the bottom. Okay, so put it in, give it a good swirl. Okay, so we're nearly done. As you can see here, the dumpling is floating and it's already, at the ending stages. So now we'll use a big spoon, a slotted spoon, to remove the dumplings. Okay, so after all this, here's your dumpling. So enjoy.